Hi all, Meghna, Lachu and Mr. Raj.
Hi,
Hello.
I'm just checking if we can start or if there'll be an introduction. I don't know.
Vijayam, Mrs. Marthanda is not on.
Yes, she's not there yet.
Can't hear you, Lachu.
She's on mute.
Yeah, your mute is on, Lakshmi.
So I'm not able to get everybody on the screen. How do we do that?
Gallery view.
Huh?
Gallery view.
On iPad?
Yeah. On the left side top corner, if you just knock on it, one gallery view will come on.
Gallery view. Learning feels so like ancient, just picking up.
Ruku.
Hi everyone.
Hi, Sandhya.
Okay, my video needs to be brought on. Yes. You can see me now?
Yes.
Hi. Welcome. And it's such a pleasure to have you all here today. I'm sorry the host came in after the guests, but well, then this is all one family, right? The Bangalore WEF family. And I'm just going to introduce Meghna S. Belawadi, who's an RJ, an entrepreneur, a founder of Samvida Communications. And she will now introduce all the other guests and take this conversation forward. I don't want to cut into your discussion time. Have a wonderful session. I hope you enjoyed the inaugural and welcome once again. I'd like that cup of tea,
Sandhya.
Subhashini.
We're just waiting for one of our panelists.
So can we have tea during the...
Of course you can. Just be there though for people to see you. I am going to try help Mrs. Vijaya Martanda get on, Meghna,
Okay.
while you take this call forward. And yes, I'm sorry one of the panelists could not be here today. We miss Sinu Joseph,
Yeah.
right? So we miss her because due to sudden COVID emergency, she had to withdraw at the last minute. And I am sorry that she's not here with us, but I welcome you all and carry on.
Thank you,
I'll be
Sandhya.
back to end the session, but I'll be watching you all. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Sandhya.
Good morning, everyone. As Bangaloreans, as people who've been associated with Bangalore, irrespective of whether we were born here or whether we come to live here, this place has some magic in it. We step into Bangalore from its international airport, its enigmatic bus stand, which we proudly still call majestic, or even the railway station. One can hear languages from all nooks of the country and even from some of the little known places of the world. One can find tech nerds, writers, artists, foodies, and most importantly, very, very friendly people in Bangalore. You will find relaxed entrepreneurs, celebrated writers, enthusiastic artists, art lovers, gourmet chefs, and street food stall owners who have the most sublime gift of cooking up perfection on the plate. As an ardent lover of this most interesting city, and as ardent lovers, all of us here together will bring out the spirit, the effervescence, and the culture of this unique city, Bangalore. As Bangalore is at a crossroads from being pensioners' paradise, it is evolving to be one of the home for the brightest and the ambitious youngsters with being called the startup hub. Here we are at the Women Economic Forum, and in this session, Bangalore Diaries, a kaleidoscopic view, our panel would like to present different dimensions of the city through our own journeys and experiences. A very warm welcome to all the panelists and the guests who are watching us.
Thank you.
Firstly, I would like to introduce Lakshmi Gopalswamy. She's a proud Kannadiga, a performer, an artist. From the age of 12, she's been into arts, and her mother, Dr. Uma Gopalswamy, reputed classical singer, provided her the required artistic nourishment to encourage her to take her first steps into dance. Apart from that, she grew up to join cinema, and she's chosen roles that is very important to her. And she will now tell us what is that important value system that was instilled in her, and some of the rules that she has laid for herself, and her journey through this in Bangalore. Lakshmi, over to you.
Hi all, wonderful to be on this platform. And let me tell you at the beginning, wonderful to dress up, because in these COVID times, I've been pretty much living in t-shirts and track pants, don't feel like a dancer at all. So thank you for this opportunity, number one, to get back the color, to get us some color, all of us operating from home. And wonderful to be part of such a big platform. It is a mammoth task for you all to get this together. And talking about, you've already introduced me. Of course, I'm born, brought up in Bangalore, in fact, mostly South Bangalore. I've had my education in Bangalore, even my dance education in Bangalore. The exploration of my talents has been really here, because along with dance, I was never camera shy. So I started trying out modeling. Mainly film commercials, mainly not ramp modeling, but still and all this. But I must say, maybe my school had a bearing. I studied in a school called the Valley School, which is a very green place, so much like the Bangalore of yore. I don't want to sound nostalgic, but really full of trees and nature. And this kind of encouraged me to always question. So one thing I was very clear about from the beginning, that I was aware of, is that art can be a powerful catalyst for change, for social progress, for awareness, be it classical arts, be it cinema, be it whatever, even advertisements, adverts. So the one thing I was always very, I would try to be aware of what my role would be. So I can just maybe at this juncture tell you that even 30 years ago, when this dark is beautiful movement was not really that pronounced as it is now, gladly, I had refused to do Fair and Lovely commercials, because even then I felt this was not progressive to society, and I knew, you're influencing a lot of people, ads influence people. So it started there. And even in dance, I would question whether I'm doing something with a blind belief or whether I'm doing something with conviction. And coming to cinema, of course, I have chosen roles which bring forth certain issues, which sensitize people to issues. For example, I did a film about 10 years ago, two films called, very important for me especially. One was called Taniye, which was about this old man and a nurse and their relationship, and all the subtleties that nurses go through, and a very, very tender but very nuanced film, and talking about the situation where parents are not with the kids during their old age for various reasons. And I did another film called Paradeshi, which is about Malayalis stuck, even now, based on true stories about Malayalis stuck in Pakistan, not having identities because Pakistanis don't treat them as equal, and in our land they have a Pakistani passport, so they're treated as outlaws, so they're in no man's territory. So films like this will even bring to society things that we would never know otherwise. And I did another film in Kannada which got me a state award. Those two I got Kerala award, but I'm just saying that because it's Bangalore. I did a film called Vidaya, Farewell, which was about euthanasia. It's very tough to pass a judgment to say whether euthanasia is good or not. But the point is, it sensitizes you to all angles of euthanasia. So in brief, I have always believed that art is a very powerful tool, especially cinema is a very powerful tool to transform people, to help sensitize people. So it's been really a very, for me, all these activities have been a journey inward. And have I finished with my 5 minutes, or I can speak another minute? Or Yeah, and of course, I'd like to share also at this point, very interestingly, because people think cinema means, you know, with the hard work, now luckily it's treated just like a profession, like any other profession, but there's a lot of buzz, and there is a lot of hype. And but what I would like to say is that other than hard work, for me, I have experienced acting to be a very spiritual activity, because I started acting much later in films, actually much after I established myself as a dancer, but I always found that there's no space for ego there is no space for feeling shy or conscious, because sometimes you're dancing in front of 500 people, sometimes you have to burst out crying in front of so many people, which may not be your nature really, but you have to forget who you are and dive into it. And I thought that is really squashing your ego every day when you go onto the set, because you can't think, oh, I'm like this and I do not react like this, and you have to do what the character demands of you to do. So that way, I would always, because people always tell me, you're a dancer, why do you want, some people with the conservative mindset, I would like to say, they say, like, you're a dancer, why don't you, that is your calling and that is divine, and cinema, why do you want to really, why do you want to pursue cinema? Dance is good enough for you. But I'd like to tell people that, in fact, this has been big steps in my journey spiritually inward, even compared to dance, actually. Yeah.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Thank you so much. ಸಂಗೀತ ಕಲೆಯೊಂದು, ಸಾಹಿತ್ಯ ಕಲೆಯೊಂದು, ಅಂಗಾಂಗ ಭಾವರೂಪಣದ ಕಲೆಯೊಂದು, ಸಂಗಳಿಸಲಿ ಕಲೆಗಳನ್ನು ನಯವು ಚರ್ಯೆಯಲಿ, ಮಂಗಳೋನ್ನತ ಕಲೆಯೇ ಮಂಕುತಿಮ್ಮ. Thinking of this saying from DVG, which talks about art, culture, and the importance of all of it coming together, the convergence of all type of arts, is very precise and very befitting at this moment. While I introduce our next speaker, with us is Subhashini Vasant, founder trustee of Vasant Ratna Foundation, started in the memory of her husband, Colonel Vasant V, who was awarded the Ashoka Chakra posthumous in 2008 for his selfless supreme sacrifice while fighting terrorists in Jammu Kashmir. Her own personal loss motivated her to start the foundation to create a support system for the well-being of families of Jawans martyred in service of the nation. She was awarded the Neeraja Banot Award in 2016 in recognition for her work for the foundation. While I will not tell more about her, we would like to hear from you. But Subhashini, please talk about the journey you've had in Bangalore, and also how did Vasant Ratna Foundation happen at that moment of grief? What made you bounce back to life and do so much for the society and inspire so many people?
Thank you, Meghna. Thank you for that wonderful intro for me. Hello, Raj, and hi, Lakshmi. It's wonderful to be on a platform with both of you also, waiting for, of course, Vijaya ma'am. And like I shared already, Lakshmi and I are childhood friends, I can say, maybe since our early teens, and we've been sharing the journey of dance and life very, very closely. So I'm sure actually she can say a lot of things that I would say today about me also. So I'm happy to be on this platform, and the bond we have with Bangalore is just, I mean, it's home. What more can we say, right? It's been beautiful to be part of Bangalore, and this is the city that has kind of nurtured us, like you already said in your intro, Meghna. I think this is the city that is so welcoming, so embracing, so open to so many new things that each one of us is allowed the space to bloom and grow and bring in whatever new things that we wish to bring in. And for me, it was something like an organization like Vasant Ratna Foundation. Like we, of course, the title says for arts, but it is actually also through arts, because a lot of who I am today is because I am a dancer, because I am a creative person, because I've been able to look at my life situations in reality from a creative perspective, from the right side of the brain. And all that has been honed only because of dancing. To put it in a very a very vivid manner. In dance, as a solo artist, we are used to doing so many different roles within a span of a few minutes. Like even if you take Draupadi Vastrapaharana, like while you're showing Draupadi, you're immediately going to Dushasana, you're going to Dhritarashtra, you're going to Yudhishthira, you're going to Duryodhana, you are jumping, right? So what happens with dance is, with that kind of mindset, if you look at reality and your own real situation, you don't you don't drown in that one, in that one role. You have the awareness to switch roles and to look at the same thing from a 360-degree perspective, which a lot of management gurus talk about today, about being aware all around and being able to look at your superior and learn, being able to look at people who work with you and learn, being a team person. And with dance also, again, another thing is, you're not alone on stage. Though you are the one who is holding the focus of the entire people, it's your musicians, it's your people who helped you dress up, people like your makeup artist and whoever, the lighting person, the sound technician, and finally the audience. If you're not able to connect with the audience, it's a whole round thing. So we are just at the center of it, trying to bring in that one rasa for everybody. So that is what dance has. When you imbibe the art, it is not just about the performance, the glamour, like Lakshmi was saying. Glamour is just the very superficial outside part of any art. It's more of the internal growth, the internal spiritualization, how your life incidents, bring in that experience to the art, and what the art brings to your life experience. So for me, Bangalore has been, has given me space to do all of this. And like you said, it's the home that you grow in also. So it's the city, then you bring it down closer to your family, it brings it down closer to your home, and then it's you. So none of us exist in isolation. It's all connected. And now this isolation is affecting us so badly with COVID. I mean, we're realizing the interconnectedness of all of us, and thank God for the internet and technology. Otherwise, I think we would have all been kind of really, I don't know how crazy we would have been in our own individual, lives. So it's all of this. And yes, would you like me to share anything else? I think I've spoken about how art has influenced who I am today, and Bangalore being the base for all of it.
Yeah, and also Vasant Ratna Foundation and what you do.
Right. So Vasant Ratna Foundation started in memory of Vasant, like you already said. And the main reason we started it was to create a community, a self-help group, and reach out to women, like all people who deal with any unique situations in life, need a self-help group. I felt there was this lacking for army martyr families, because it's a very unique situation where the entire country, is putting us on a pedestal and saying, be proud, and you should be proud. We are proud of you. You are a family who served the nation. And so you're kind of put on a pedestal, and that doesn't sometimes give you space to be a normal human being who's grieving, who's full of sorrow. I mean, how do you balance the pride and the honor you feel and your sorrow? Because this is very real. You have to go through the grieving process and acknowledge it. But this somewhere, the thrust of having to be proud about the same loss kind of muddles up a lot of things for the women and the families. Like, you may have heard a lot of the families, the martyr families, they say, "Mera beta jayega fauj mein, mere beti bhi jayegi fauj mein." I mean, have you even recovered to know what you're saying? Are you ready to deal with another consequence of a similar kind? God forbid not. But you have to be understanding of that. So there are so many things that we have to understand as human beings, internalize, assimilate, come to terms with, find your balance. And then, so this is what we do with Vasant Ratna: create a space for women and children to talk about things that are probably not socially correct to be expressed outside. So it's an empowerment space.
Thank you, Subhashini. I have more questions for you and Lakshmi, but before that, let me introduce our next speaker. We have with us Rajkumar Dugar, who is working relentlessly for the society. He founded this association called Citizens for Citizens, which led to many public interest programs like tree planting, street lights, micro level traffic issues, public transport, and a lot more. An engineer by profession who was working and then quit his job to do what his heart drives him to do. Raj, welcome to the session and over to you. Please talk about your journey.
Sure, Meghna. Ellarigu namaskara. Greetings to all. My journey has been a learning process. It continues. I started off by doing small and big things, but only in my locality initially. I wrote a booklet which detailed our tree planting activity on successfully planting and taking care of 200 saplings with a survival rate of 97% after 2 years. There were other projects like underprivileged children's day out, cleanliness drives, and revival of a park, etc. But soon I realized for myself that the biggest challenge faced by the city of 30 million humans and 8 million vehicles is traffic congestion and all its related consequences. One study showed that annually Bangalore loses about 40,000 crores, that's about $6 billion US, directly or indirectly on account of traffic congestion. You will agree with me, this is humongous and unacceptable. I believe the only practical and effective solution is efficient and robust public transport coupled with tight integration between various modes of public transport. Along with others who concurred, I took up this issue in the last 2-3 years in different ways. Also, the commute to Bangalore's airport is presently 100% road-centric. The pre-COVID average footfalls at the airport had crossed 3 lakhs daily. And this number will rise sharply when the new terminal T2 becomes operational. Metro and suburban train to airport will take another 3 to 4 years after actual work starts. Work has not started yet. So 2 years ago, I raised a petition for trains to airport, which was endorsed by about 30 requesting for leveraging a grossly underutilized railway track which passes by the airport compound as an option for commute to the airport. Work on this is at an advanced stage as I speak. I'm hopeful that Bangalore will see trains to airport within the next couple of months. Also, last month, I proposed a coordinated semicircular train services around the city using the existing infrastructure. The fact is, train services will provide an excellent, cost-effective, quick and comfortable means of public transport and significantly help reduce traffic congestion and its consequences. Frankly, it's low-hanging fruit. I also worked on several micro-level traffic issues and came out with conceptual designs to solving bottlenecks at a few places in CBD. For example, the High Grounds Junction and the 1 near Cantonment Railway Station. And in-depth study for these solutions. Although I succeeded in a few authorities, the present COVID situation has delayed. And just over a month ago, just over a year ago rather, I founded a platform called Citizens for Citizens, comprising like-minded, concerned and passionate citizens with the aim to leave our surroundings better than we found it. I'm happy to inform WEF that 40% of our the C4C members are women. We took up a project by doing a comprehensive survey of all streetlights in our locality and presented our report to the concerned engineer with a clear stand that we are not complaining, we want to collaborate. And the result has been about 80% of those dark spots. In terms of greenery, a lot to be done in the city. Late last year, Surabhi, a very dynamic lady, and myself for massive afforestation called Koti Vriksha Sainya. A lot of planting is being done, although at present it has gone low-key on account of social distancing and other issues. Well, coming to the present, In the past 4 months, our group, Citizens for Citizens, has remained focused on COVID-related matters. Let me explain. Hours before the Prime Minister announced lockdown on the afternoon of 24th March, I and my team were out on the streets with paint and brush. We facilitated social distancing, which was quickly praised by the Commissioner of our city. Designed posters which carried strong visual, I'll show you one, which carried strong visual and simple bilingual text messages regarding the guidelines to be followed. And these posters have been put in many places where footfalls are high. We distributed dry rations to identified needy people, taking care not to click pictures and videos to protect their dignity. Our team made cotton masks, sanitized them, and then and I must tell you this, earlier this month, a family of 5 who were all found to be COVID positive, all 5 of them, father, mother, and 3 daughters. They contacted me and I quickly understood what they needed. They were completely devastated. I urged them not to have any negative thoughts and gave them confidence of our full support. And I and my team delivered all their needs of medicines, groceries, etc. to their doorstep since they were under home quarantine. I continuously counseled them, and we were really thrilled when we learned last week that all of them have recovered fully. In fact, one member of that family is now a C4C member too. And our work was covered by the media, and now I'm really happy to see that stigma and fear are slowly being replaced by care and compassion. And yes, the journey continues.
Fantastic. It is lovely to have you on the panel. Thank you so much, Raj, for it's really lovely to hear you. I would like to welcome our another panelist, Professor Vijaya Martanda, who's joined us. She's a well-known dance veteran who specializes in classical Bharatanatyam and Kathak. She has over 4 decades of experience in teaching theoretical and practical aspects of choreography and Natya Shastra. Her passion for dance has just taken her to places. She's received a number of awards and recognitions. Some of them are Karnataka Kalashri Award by Karnataka Sangeeta Nritya Academy, Bharata Muni Award by Nritya Kala Parishad, and these are to name a few. Professor Vijaya was also honored for a lot of her achievements by Karnataka State Government Information Department. She was born and brought up in Bangalore. Professor Vijaya Martanda, over to you. Please tell us about your journey and what brings you here.
Hello, everybody. Well, I'm excited to be here with all of you today. Talking about oneself is never easy, but here I go. I was born in Bangalore and raised in a family of 6 children. As a child, I was fascinated with 2 things. That is the Margasa troop that was in front of our yard and dance. My father, Professor Ramarao, was my role model, mentor, and a teacher who enabled me to pursue my passion, dance. As a literary professor, he encouraged me to explore the theoretical aspect of dance, which was not common back then. I grew up listening to riveting conversations around dance, Sanskrit literature, and Kannada poems, which made me invest a formal dance education. During those days, my option was limited to choreography course in Delhi. This, I would say, was one of my best life experiences as it opened up new doors and horizons for me to experiment with dance and learn from veteran artists and stylewriters. I vividly remember getting immersed in reading Bharata's Natya Shastra, World History of Dance by Kurt Sachs, lot of other texts on Western ballet and history of Indian and traditional dances that piqued my interest and sparked me with innovative ideas. Not only did I learn more, it helped me to distinguish myself as a dancer who was well versed in dance theory. In all my dance productions and teachings, I make it a point to blend theoretical dance concepts with practical moments. Let me elucidate an example. The concept of conservation of trees is simple, that can be narrated in different ways. But an approach I took was to prefer to an old Sanskrit text from Mallinatha's work, which was an inspiration by Kalidasa's Meghaduta, where he narrates how the celestial, there are 8 celestial trees. The celestial trees have a passion to bloom when they hear their favorite piece of music. This is something which is very, very interesting and sort of intriguing. What type of music we can play for the trees? And taking inspiration from this verse, I was able to create a mesmerizing production that helped me to evoke the audience emotions and land the message of conservation of trees. So here, I mean, I can just simply say that I use different kinds of music, especially for dance. We can use different type, instrumental, only colorful, and the lyrics, everything. So this is something unique experiment I tried and all that. Apart from that, I did some of the other concepts like, the confluence of religion, and then mainly the Ma Shakti, that is Devi, as the central Ma Shakti, and also the Panchabhutas. So inspiration is all around us only. As a teacher, my goal each day is to equip my students with knowledge and empower them to create magic. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Lovely to hear from you. And we also have audience who have been sending us messages. Mridula, Ayush, Dr. Priya, Mahesh, Manjula Kumari, Meghna Mehta. They say it's a very interesting panel. Thank you so much for that. And if you have any questions to any of us, please post the questions and we will take it. And my question to both Lakshmi and Subhashini is, and also Vijaya ma'am, when you talk about arts, performing arts especially, taking it as a full-time thing has been in trend only in the recent times. It is appreciated, it is valued. But back then, when you had to make that choice of taking this as your career, how difficult or how easy was it? And what gave you strength to do it?
That's my question in a different form.
Well, those days, to take dance as a career was really a challenge. And then, of course, you should have the family support where you are allowed to do whatever you want to do, irrespective of the economic conditions. So that was one thing. And I had all the privilege and their support, have family support, where they allowed me to travel, research, and also take part in productions and also produce many things with my students. So this is one thing, the family support is very important, which where I was able to succeed in whatever little contribution I could make to the field of dance.
Lakshmi? Please unmute yourself.
Okay, adding to Vijaya ma'am, of course, with Shubhi also, I can say for all of us, for artists, more than anyone else actually, because we are kind of unconventional even in your families, that you need extraordinary, you need a lot of support emotionally and if possible financially, but emotionally for sure. I have to tell you that though it has always been my father's, it was always his intuition for me that I would be best at dancing more than anything else. So he would always get upset if he wouldn't mind me missing college classes here and there, but if I bumped dance class, he would get very upset. But I must tell you this is one side of the coin, just to add to your comment, Meghna. The other thing is, if anybody said, what does your daughter do? I wouldn't be able to take a job. I used to feel because I didn't know I was not interested in technology, and I would think like, how can you take a job? I don't think I'm worthy of a job even. So if anybody asked my dad, he would always say, unfortunately, she's not technically qualified, but he would be very proud of me as a dancer. So this is the mindset, it's a mindset actually that we grew in. But fortunately, in my case, kind of lucked out that somehow it became a profession. So even today, I find it awkward to say that I'm a professional dancer or artist. I can say that my passions are emoting, abhinaya, which is acting and dancing and acting in that order. And somehow I've been sustaining myself so far. So that is my mindset really. I cannot say that this is my profession or how will I let push it. But having said that, of course, now the beauty is that any career you take from interest point of view, you can survive. For us, it was very difficult to have a decent standard of living if you had to only rely on dance, because we're also confused with this thing of dance for devotion and dance for art's sake, and taking and money is not a good thing. So there's a lot of confusion, and it took a lot of time to separate the two and say that it's okay to sustain, well, to make money if you're dancing, but at the same time you can keep your spirit pure and keep your art and interest pure.
Thank you, Lakshmi. Subhashini.
Hi. So yes, like Vijaya ma'am and Lakshmi have said, it's so true. Yes, without family support, an artist cannot bloom. Forget bloom, cannot even survive. So that's the bottom line. We all need huge family support, and we also need, like Lakshmi was saying, even financial support. So for me, again, also, and the other thing that happened was I got married when I was 21. So actually, I'm grateful for dance that it stayed in my life, So with family, with husband, with children, it's so easy to get dragged into that whole house homekeeper, mode that very often I remember my husband used to say, doesn't matter if you've not made lunch today, but I want you to practice. I want you by the time when I come back in the afternoon to say you did your 1.5 hours of riyaz. So if you don't have somebody like that, and thank God for that kind of support, because also I was with him all over the countryside, in Sikkim, in Kashmir, in Ooty, in God-forsaken places sometimes. And there would be no opportunity to go to see dance, to learn dance. My teacher was not there. So I used to just go teach those village kids. I remember in Kashmir, on the border of Uri, I went to a small school. They're all Muslim children. It doesn't matter. And all of Bharatanatyam is all about Indian gods, like Hindu gods of, Ganesha, Krishna. So I used to say, even in our prayer, it would start with Ganesha. So I used to say, it doesn't matter. Think of Allah, So that is how we adapted, and just, it's spiritual end of the day. It doesn't matter who you're identifying with, Krishna, Ganesha, Allah, Jesus, it doesn't matter. It's an art form, it's a language. So thank God for dance that you can move, and, that's the beauty of the art. And of course, we need all the support. And I was, the first thing I told my husband is, I'm not going to be able to earn anything through dance, but I want to dance. He said, don't worry. And he was a Fauji. We lived on a captain's salary for, I don't know, in those days when I married him, he was earning 3,500 rupees. And you imagine, yeah, we didn't have so many things in the house, but he said, doesn't matter, Shubha, you just dance. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, that is the kind of support we need. Financially, yes, you can't bring much from dance if you're not that business-minded about dance, and I'm not even saying it in a wrong way. If you don't know how to make the economics of it work, and it's necessary. I do not even hold it with the younger generation. Economics is necessary. Without money, how can you live? We've all been lucky that we've had our family support us emotionally, financially, everything, that we can just dance. So again, for me, it was not a career choice. It was a default, but dance is my partner. That's how I look at it.
Can I add to that? I would like to add something, because dance is something, where you have to have a passion and a strong will also. It's not that only financial or family support, because when it is not just the earning. And as everybody else says, even when I got married, the first condition I put was, you do whatever you want, I will not interfere, but you can't stop me from dancing. That was the first condition, I think. You can't stop me. Of course, I may not be a performer or thing, but I will be in dance profession. That is one thing. As you said, it didn't tell me. I said, God willing, everything else was supported by the others family. So I need not support the family with dance early. But it did help me to be on my own and then not bother about other things in the family matters and all that. So it is just that. It is your will and you have to do it, you will do it. And dance has so many options. Like you can teach, you can do, like I have taken up to theory. It was not much of practice. So I don't need any sponsors to go and study in a library. So and do my
Thank
own
you,
work.
ma'am.
So this is one thing. So,
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Lakshmi, over to you. Yes.
Coming to the Bangalore scene, I just wanted to comment. We've always had a very vibrant scene because we've grown up with a strong sense of fraternity, which I don't see in very many cities actually, having performed in so many places. We have a lot of camaraderie among at least our gen, I can say, Shubhi, and of course, even earlier, ma'am's generation. There's a lot of camaraderie. So if there was one, let's say, for example, during my Arangetam time, similar to Shubhi also, the whole of the city would know this Arangetam is happening. So it was a nice, small, thick community. And even now with so many cultures coming in, Bangalore being the ever-open city, constantly evolving, a young city in a way, that the performing scene and the arts scene has actually been quite vibrant and very supportive. A lot of people who come from outside keep telling us that we never see full houses like this. Bangalore's always lapping up new ideas. They premiere, people from international artists will come and premiere their performances here before going anywhere else. Because I think this is the most accepting of, cultures. Yeah.
The warm heart we have. We have with us Raj. When he was 1 year old, he was struck with polio, but that never stopped him from doing anything that he wanted to do. Raj, please tell us, how did the transition happen from being an IT hardware engineer to putting yourself totally out there in the society to help and bring about changes?
Yeah, sure. Well, a decade ago, I never imagined myself giving up my career and plunging into social work. I guess as we mature, we tend to understand that it should not be just me and myself all the way. In my case, a set of circumstances aided the morphing. I had done sufficiently well in my business and saved for a rainy day. Luckily, my needs were not much. All of us do have good days and bad days. On one of my bad days, I raised the topic with an elderly mentor, Mr. Narayan, who is a permanently cheerful man. And his response was, Rajkumar, look around and you'll find someone who genuinely needs help. It need not be something big. Just go and help that person to your best ability. And after that, check whether you're still feeling low. That was my encouragement. One of my friends who won't like being named has love all and serve all as his motto. He has been a great inspiration in my life. Also about 6 years ago, to this month in fact, I was feeling quite frustrated and helpless with a permanent and huge pile of garbage just outside my house. We see this all over the city. One morning, to my good luck, a group of youngsters came fully prepared and began clearing the place. I joined them, and in a few hours, the place was clean with fresh paint as well as saplings planted. They requested me to look after the place so that no one spoilt it again. That was a big challenge. I kept a sharp eye and succeeded. Well, after that, one thing led to another. Luckily, I was clear in my aims that I have been able to establish my credentials with most people who I have dealt with. Also, I understood that instead of just criticizing and finding faults, it's good to study the problem, come up with all possible solutions, and persuade the concerned authorities. Once they realize that our intent and determination is clear and focused, they do try and comply with the requests to the extent possible. In addition, I found that I began gathering support from like-minded friends, citizens, and they have been a great strength. We work as teams depending on the areas of individual interest. In addition to all these, my keen interests in the medical field drew me away from my business towards spending time with people in hospitals, interfacing with their doctors and taking care of them. Although I'm an electronics engineer, I study medicine even now. So I would say the driving force has been the sense of real satisfaction after helping anyone, which brings immense positivity, and that positivity helps you do more. Snowballing effect, really. And yes, improvement starts with an I, and that's me.
Fantastic. I mean, that's so nice to hear. Improvement starts with I, and that's within me. It's a very provoking statement for people to really think about and act on it. Another hot burning topic that we hear a lot is gender equality. And women on the panel, have you experienced the glass ceiling? Do you think the glass ceiling, which people talk about, is true for women to excel in her career or do things that she wants to do? Is it imaginary, or do you think it is true from your experience? Lakshmi, would you like to go first?
Okay, talking about the dance scene, the guys are breaking the glass ceiling now. There are a lot more male performers because they would always compare and say that women are very glamorous and we get all the shows and it's easier for women to make it in dance compared to men. But now, so that's the other side of gender equality. And coming to film, I think there is, of course, you're breaking down, you're constantly breaking glass ceilings. And it has a very long way to go because as you can see, whether it's national cinema or regional cinema, and I always actually look up to Hollywood that way because they're progressing in leaps and bounds when it comes to voicing out their voicing out causes, each of the artists, whether the men or the women. And I think we have a long way to go in cinema because it's still very male star driven most of the times. Yeah.
Subhashini, please unmute yourself.
Should be, yeah,
unmute.
Sorry. I think this whole idea of glass ceiling is part of your internal conditioning as a woman, first of all, because you feel that when you are a woman and you have a family, your first priority is to your husband, to your children, to your parents, to your in-laws. It's ingrained in our conditioning. So first of all, we have to overcome that within ourselves. And for me, another one added as a widow. Right? So only when you start seeing that you can do things differently, though your life station is, given these boundaries, you can exit out of that. So first of all, we have to start giving permission to ourselves from within to say, yes, I am a mother. Yes, I am this. Yes, I am that. But I want to do this. And this is my passion, or this is my calling. Only then we can go beyond ourselves and start doing other things. Yes, there will be glass ceilings everywhere in every industry in different ways. They manifest. But first, it is our own permission within us. So that's how I've been kind of opening little windows for myself.
Raj, would you like to say something about it being a man, the only man on the panel?
I think the only thing I would like to say is, yes, seems to be a glass ceiling, but Bangalore is definitely far better compared to other places. And I would also like to add that in our organization or association, like I said earlier, 40% are women. And that's really nice. And we're doing a lot of work connected with the society. Can I add one small thing about the theme of our discussion today? Because what happens is people might think that there are three artists and there's one guy who's somebody else. Like, but there is a common form. I want to highlight that, and that I feel is the fact that all of us are focusing subtly towards mental well-being, physical well-being, and that is the platform on which I think we are all together, and that is the message that Bangalore would like to give to the world today, the positive the mental well-being, because when you're dancing, when you're doing whatever, when you're doing anything to do with arts and culture and whatever work we do, everything has the mental and physical well-being as the basic platform, which is quite common in our panel. And that is a message that Bangalore should give, this panel is giving to the world.
Thank you, Raj. Vijaya ma'am, do you have something to add at this point?
As you said, the glass ceiling, earlier, at least in my time when I was dancing, and there was a glass ceiling, because they said, even when you to get married and all this, your daughter is dancing, what will she do after that? So that was definitely there. And of course, we had to overcome that. Many of us overcame that ceiling and all that. And mostly in my experience, when we started dance class, later stages, somewhere in 80s, 70s, 80s and all that. And so many parents thought sending their children to a lady teacher was much better than a male. That's because, I don't know, they all felt, so naturally we picked up the string, and then many teachers who are there. Even if you take our contemporaries, you'll find a lot of lady teachers, or the women teachers here than men. So, maybe, I don't know, dance also had it had some taboo earlier attached to it. So, I don't know whether it went to further or whatever it is, but I feel if we are strong, if we know what we are going to deliver, what we are going to teach, and how we are going to move in the society, it makes a lot of difference. And at least in my case, it made a lot of difference. And I could manage, and I did break the ceiling, and I went forward. And today, of course, they respect me for what I'm doing. That is one thing great. And I respect all the other dance teachers in the country for doing a very vast contribution to the field of dance. I'm sure this should continue, I think.
Thank you, ma'am. We have last couple of minutes left for our panel. I would like to ask all of you to talk, share what Bangalore means to you. Yes, Lakshmi.
Okay, this is maybe, can I just start that? Have you finished the question? Sorry, because I just, there's one thing I'd like to say, that what makes Bangalore so unique and so beautiful is, one is it is kind of multilingual, because we always accept there are people from all languages that you see. It's a very as you say, people would always keep saying cosmopolitan city, and so that has worked to my advantage in a way, because I have acted in 4 languages, in all the 4 languages in the South. That could happen, made it easier for me. I wouldn't say happened, but made it easier because I grew up listening. I'm a Kannadiga, but I grew up listening to Tamil. I grew up listening to Telugu, and of course Hindi. You could understand Hindi, and there's a Hindi movie culture here, unlike many other a couple of states in the South, and so that helped me. And having said that, as a Bangalorean and someone who loves her city, which has allowed me to be here, to be normal, and to just be chill and aram compared to the life of a more popular person in another state. That's how my life has been, Jewel. But I would just like to implore here, use this platform to implore with all other Bangaloreans, whether they're Kannada speaking or not, that please don't make them ghettos of a Bengali hub and a Telugu hub and a Hindi hub, because it is, whether you're it's not about me being a Kannadiga, but whichever state you are in, it is very important to respect the local language and culture. So I feel, please make an effort to learn the local language. In this case, it's Kannada, and respect local traditions, and don't be in your little world, because I have seen a lot of people, I have met people who have told me that, for years we've lived in Bangalore and I don't know a word of Kannada. I feel sad about it. The beauty is it's allowed you to be, but please also reciprocate and understand that your resources, because when you're from your land, you have more attachment to the resources here, perhaps, So please be more sensitive to the resources of your local land. If I was living in any other city, I will be dead sure that I will pick up the local language. I will make an effort. And of course, Raj just told me on a conversation a little while ago, in school apparently he got 50 and 50 on Kannada or what is that, Raj? Some maths did. I was horrible in Kannada that way. But to implore, because it can be, your life can be, our lives can be so much more beautiful if we have this interconnectedness, especially with language.
Yes. Sandhya?
Yes, I have come in. It has been such an interesting discussion, but unfortunately, I have to now say thank you to all of you for being here today. And it is my privilege and pleasure to, from WEF 2020, to confer the awards on the distinguished panelists here. This award is for leaders who are, professional, whose professional endeavors, they are pioneers in their professional endeavors with a voice and vision and their inspiring spirit, which inspires the next generation, of awakened youth and entrepreneurs. So I'm going to now announce the awards. The Iconic Woman of Excellence Award, Making a Difference to All, goes to Professor Vijaya Martanda. Can we have a round of applause?
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
WEF confers the award of Iconic Woman of Excellence, Making a Difference to All, on Subhashini Vasant.
Thank you.
The Women Economic Forum 2020 confers the award of Iconic Woman of Excellence, Making a Difference to All, to Lakshmi Gopal Swami. I will finish all the women first before I go to the man. So WEF 2020 announces and confers an award of Iconic Woman of Excellence, Making a Difference to All, to Meghna S. Belavadi. Ms. Joseph is not here with us today, but it is our pleasure and privilege to award her with the Iconic Woman